Alright, what is up YouTube, M40 here. We have a chunk of new deck profiles actually for you guys today, and some of these are relatively interesting. So the first list we're going to be looking at is Hakai actually coming out and doing quite well at its event. And I can't say that I'm really disappointed to see a Hakai list actually functioning at this point in the format, but this is very, very underrated for what I was honestly expecting. So, what are we packing into this bad boy? So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring. One copy of the Baselis Familiar of the Evil Eye, because splashing this deck with Evil Eye is actually quite ingenious. I like this. Two copies of Phantasme, two Ghost Ogre, triple copies of Cerziel, Watcher of the Evil Eye, because popping special summoned monsters is amazing. Two copies of Unchained Soul of Disaster, triple Aruha, and triple copies of Rakia. And then we have triple copies of the Abomination's Prison, triple copies of Called by the Grave, triple copies of Peridil, the Evil Eye Domain. We have two copies of the Evil Eye of Selene, along with two copies of Pot of Desires, one Terraforming, two Wailing. Then we have one copy of the Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, one Escape of the Unchained, one Evil Eye Defeat, one Retribution, and two copies of Infinite Impermanence, wrapping up the main deck here. Down here in the extra deck, we have one copy of the Cerziel, Ruler of the Evil Eye. Then we have triple copies of Unchained Soul of Rage, two copies of Unchained Soul of Anguish, one copy of Unchained Abomination, one copy of Topological Zeroboros, one Avermax, one Unicorn, one Phoenix, one Cerberus, two copies of Gorgon, and one copy of Boral Sword OTK-kun. So deck here we have triple copies of Nibiru, two copies of the Primaneral Congrate. So this thing can't be normal summoned, must be special summoned by a card effect. If a monster is sent from your opponent's hand or deck to the graveyard, except during damage step, you special summon this card from your hand to face down defense mode. This card just flip face up and target two cards on the field and destroy. And this thing comes in at a ferocious 3K. Then we have triple copies of Cosmic, two copies of Mind Control, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and two copies of Imperial Iron Wall, wrapping this up. As I said, it's a nice, interesting combination, getting the chance to see a middle ground here with this strategy, and hopefully in the future we will get the chance to see more decks like this, merging these concepts together, things that I wouldn't expect to see together actually showing up in today's metagame. So take a page out of this, doing relatively well at its event as well. If you guys want to mess around with a concept like this, maybe you'll get somewhere. I mean, Hakai True Draco just seems like a better deck at certain points, but it really just depends on your playstyle and preferences. Now next up, we have Subterror. Now this list actually ended up bubbling the YCS in Milan. The poor guy actually ended up, feels bad to lose on the bubble, and I get it. He sent this in and said, "Hey Robbie, I saw that still profiling deck is like, you want to cover my list?" I'm like, all right, let's. I know it's Subterror, and a lot of people are like, it's not the greatest thing in the world to talk about this for the 17th time, but alas, it's still important for information's sake. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, two copies of DD Crow, one copy of Mastrix, triple copies of Fiendus, triple copies of Guru, and one copy of the Subterror Nemesis Archer herself. We have two copies of Called by the Grave. We have one Necro Valley. Actually, this is interesting tech. I didn't actually think I would see Necro Valley being played in this capacity, but alas, this deck is taking advantage of it. We have two Pot of Duality, triple copies of Pot of Extravagance, one Terraforming, triple the Hidden City. Traps here we have two Crackdown, triple of Impermanence, one copy of Metaverse, triple Solemn Judgment, two Solemn Steerike, triple Final Battle, and then triple copies of There Can Only Be One. Down here in the extra deck we have one Almirage, one Phoenix, one Dingirdisu, triple copies of Starving Venom, triple copies of Violet Chimera, one Trif Overton, two Dragastapelia, two Muddragon, and one Chimeratech Mega Fleet. Side deck here, triple Ancia, two Ghost Ogre, two Super Riju, two Super Polymerization, triple Evenly Matched, two copies of Unending Nightmare, wrapping this up. Outside of this being standard Subterror, the Necro Valley tech is relatively interesting. I don't know how many players are going to just run out and be like, oh, I want to try playing this in this deck. But it does give an interesting presence to the deck, being more anti-meta varianted. And this card's actually really good. This format is a key card. Alright, moving on along here. Next up is Six Samurai. This deck ended up going 3-2 at its locals. I saw it posted, and initially I was like, do we really want to talk about Six Samurai? And after a little bit of thought, I was like, yeah, let's do this, because a lot of people kind of look at this deck and they want ideas. Even though it went 3-2 at its locals, I still think it's worth talking about, because it is Six Samurai, and any sort of progress that we can actually get out of this is really good. So we have 1 copy of Grandmaster of the Six Samurai, 2 copies of Drunk Forward, just standard extenders for when you need to push for those large damage turns. Then we have 1 copy of Kageki, triple copies of Kizan, 2 copies of Mizuho, and 1 copy of Shinai. So you're able to do the loop and burn your opponent out to actually win the game. We have triple copies of Neospatian Connector, 1 Aqua Dolphin to rip the pesky cards out of our opponent's hand, 1 Fuma, 1 Hatsume, and 1 Kizaru. Then we have triple copies of Called by the Grave, 1 DDR, 1 Phoenix Blade, 1 Great Gateway, because you can search this off of our Link 2 friend down here, which is actually pretty cool. And then we have 2 copies of Instant Fusion, 1 Living Fossil, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Alpha Duder, 1 Rhoda, triple copies of Dojo, because you need to be able to make as many of those beautiful Bushido counters as you actually need. And yeah, it starts working. It actually surprises me how much of a resilience, just once you start this deck, you just go. And then we have triple copies of Signal, 2 copies of United, 1 World Legacy Succession, and 2 copies of Shade Brigadine, because it's another warrior. I mean, once again, we need to make Isolde. If we cannot make Isolde, our deck it does not function. Alright, we have 2 copies of Saruja Skuldred, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Isolde, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Boral Sword, 2 copies of Battle Shogun. Being able to just discard 1, add 1 card from your deck that places Bushido counters. Searches for Gateway, it's so good. We have 1 Appaloosa, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Shien, 1 Thousand Eyes, and 1 Rajin. Side deck, we have triple Lancia, triple Nibiru, triple Mind Control, triple Twin Twister, and triple copies of Red Reboot. Wrapping up a very, very Six Samurai deck profile. Outside of that, I mean, yeah, it went 3-2 at locals. I take it with a grain of salt, if you would. I do think that possibly going forward, it's very good. And then the last list I have is from the Zodiac tournament, actually. This deck ended up winning its round 1. I wanted to go ahead and toss it in on a profile, talk about, because I was like, man, you don't really see this all that often. So there is 1 missing card down here. He only had 14 in his extra deck. You can replace it as you will, but we have the winning round 1 here. So triple copies of Gravekeepers Commandant, 2 copies of Heretic, 2 copies of Spiritualist, and 2 copies of Inspector Border. Very basic monster lineup. It will handle everything that you want it to. We have triple card of Demise, 2 hidden copies of the Necro Valley, triple Necro Valley, of course, triple copies of the Throne Room, 2 Desires, 2 Duality, and triple copies of Royal Tribute with 1 Upstart Goblin. Alright? We have only 2 copies of the Imperial Rites, triple Infinite Permanence, 1 Rite of the Spirit, target 1 Gravekeeper's monster in graveyard. Watch on that target. This activation and effect are unaffected by Necro Valley. We have triple Solemn Judgment and triple copies of Solemn Strike. Honestly, the only reason why this deck is like 1% better is you win that dice roll, and then you hard open up the Royal Tribute and the Necro Valley. Does it happen all the time? No. I mean, on a sub note here, you've also got Inspector Board. Imagine opening up Border, Necro Valley, Royal Tribute, and you look at your opponent, you're like, hey, and they're just like, all right, my guy. We have 2 copies of Saruja the Skuldred, 1 Pentastag, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, 1 IP, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Borload, 2 Castel, and triple copies of the Spiritualist. This extra deck can definitely be filled to your content for what you want. So I have triple Lancia, 2 Ash Blossom, triple Pankratops, triple Nibiru, 1 Mind Control, and triple copies of Twin Twister. Wrapping up this chunk of deck profiles for everybody. So alas, everybody, what do you think about these decks? I ask you, please, leave a comment down below. What would you guys think about these? And I quite honestly look forward to hearing more out of you guys in the near future for these. And honestly, guys, thank you for all the support. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And that's all I really got for this video. Alright guys, I'm out. The ride never truly ends. Thank you, patrons, for helping support the channel. Without you guys, I don't know if I'd still be doing this. And for those of you that like Cardfight Vanguard, FanCool40 is here for all your content needs. And those of you asking if I sell cards, mcoolgames.com for all your trading card game needs. Check the description for more interesting info. Thanks for watching, guys.